tentar gravar. 1, 2, 3.
Hi, I hope you can actually hear me. My name is Traça. I'm Dean here at Nova SB. It's a great pleasure to welcome you into our webinar today. As you can imagine, and also at LinkedIn Live we're experimenting with this, and it's our first trial on this. So welcome. As you can imagine, any school, any business school or any university around the world, what we really strive to do is make sure that we have these tremendous students coming here. But what really matters for us is what they do throughout their lives. And so can we actually develop talent that goes out and makes an impact in the world around us? That's really the metric of success for any school, or at least that's what it should be. And so we believe that it's interesting to share with all of you what our students, once they graduate, do in their careers and the impact they create. And so we're starting this today with one of our recently awarded alumni. Madalena is with us today. Madalena has just been awarded the prize of 30 under 30 by the Forbes magazine just this April. Madalena was with us and she did her bachelor with us. Then she went to Imperial College in London for a master's. And afterwards, she spent some time at Morgan Stanley. And for the last 6 years, she's been at Blackstone. And it's been at Blackstone that she's been awarded 30 under 30. And so Madalena, thank you for coming. Thank you for spending these next 20 minutes with us. Thank you for making Nova so proud of having you as an alumnus. And my first question would be exactly about this award you've just received, 30 under 30 at Forbes magazine. It's a great honor. And my question to you is, how do you feel? And how did you get to be considered this brightly amongst at Forbes?
So first of all, thank you, and thank you for having me. Regarding the recognition, I sincerely honest, I was obviously extremely happy with it. How do I get to get the award? I think, I mean, it was professionally, I'm a principal at Blackstone, and it's an incredible platform. And I've been with their alternative credit division for 6 years now, and it has been a huge ride, and I'm extremely pleased there. The majority of my work includes in investing in complex situations where I would think doesn't often lend to, because businesses are complicated, investments need to be very tailor-made, and put simply, the time is quite available is limited. So we often partner with entrepreneurs to unlock kind of business transformation and find alternatives that are somewhere in between a loan and shared ownership. I've had the absolute pleasure to work on several transactions there, and I think that's partially why Forbes kind of selected. I think Blackstone Credit is an incredible platform. I mean, I have had the opportunity to look at investments ranging from 100 million to 1 billion, which I think when I was an alumni at Nova, having that opportunity just seemed so far away and so distant. And I now have this opportunity to work, and most recently my transaction at DataSite, which was over a 1 billion unitranche transaction, was an incredible experience, and I have had an incredible experience to kind of work on a wide range of industries. And so that has been kind of my path at Blackstone so far. Prior to that, I worked. Yes, of course.
I had to ask you, tell me the one thing that makes you wake up every day and feel very excited that you're heading to Blackstone for one more day. What is that one thing that just
one thing?
Yeah. Is it the environment? Is it the clients? Is it the opportunity to make change? What is it that makes you tick?
I think definitely the people. I think I would say two, but I'd say the most of it is the people. I think people there, I think are some of the smartest in the industry. Obviously the platform attracts bright people, but I think that working with them has challenged me and pushed me to be a better professional every day. That said, also, I think one of the things that I am most passionate about is the variety of industries I get to work with every day. So I could be working on one day on a consumer company and the next day on financial services or manufacturing. And I've had the chance to look at businesses and understand them, how they work, how they operate, and try to think about how they're going to perform in the future. And I think just that variety is hard to find elsewhere.
Great. Let me maybe step back, 6 years ago. I mean, you're deciding on your life. I mean, you're not deciding on your life, but you're deciding to move to Blackstone. I mean, you were at Morgan Stanley, if my facts correct. So, this is a big decision. You leave Morgan Stanley, you head into Blackstone, I'm sure we have students listening to this, trying to figure out how do I choose a company to work for. What was it that made you decide to go for Blackstone, and sort of what kind of advice would you give to students or graduates looking to new companies to start new venture, new projects in their careers?
Of course. So I was at Morgan Stanley. I was at the time working investment banking, and I mostly focus on restructuring. So it's kind of, for those who don't know, is basically advising companies out of bankruptcy. So it's very credit led, which is kind of credit path that I've ended up going into Blackstone. There, I had the chance to actually work with Blackstone Credit. At the time was known as GSO, currently Blackstone Credit. And I had the chance to see how they worked. So then the opportunity showed up at the time via headhunter, and that's how I got involved in the process. So if I was a student, or if I was someone in investment bank or whatever other career, and they're thinking of making a change, I think in investing, and that's very specific to investing, I would say think about how they invest, see how they think about businesses, because it makes sense for you to join somewhere where you think you're meant, because not everyone is going to think the same way as you in the way you look at investment. So I think the way they approach businesses. So I think that's one. I think one's extremely important is team. I think you really have to enjoy the people you work with, and especially in very high demanding jobs like my own. I think it's key to work with the people. So I had a chance to do 10 plus interviews to get in, and I met everyone in the team and I just clicked. So I think both is important. And then it's just, I think that applies to everything, is understand what's your storyline, understand where you want to get, understand whether it makes sense to achieve your goal or where you want to learn from. Understand that and take the opportunities that are presented to you.
Okay, let me ask you a different question. I mean, 3 months ago, you had a new addition to your family. I imagine it was the first baby. Correct. So lots of changes in your life, I am sure. Mm-hmm. And so I'd like to also, because how do you think, this aspect of, I'm sure you have a very, very demanding job. Mm-hmm. How do you see life going forward, and the management of work-life balance, time for the family? How do you see this changing your life, and how do you expect to manage this? Of course.
Actually, it was someone at Blackstone once told me that you don't actually immediately get work-life balance. You kind of progressively work towards it, and your life will gradually provide you with more challenges. So I started my career being a single person, having obviously to manage my personal life and my well-being, but then it kind of developed into having a partner. And now in some cases will develop to having children, which in my case, I did have a child. So personally, I now try to kind of assault, trying to understand that there will be times that I'll need to prioritize my work, and there'll be times that I'll need to prioritize my personal life. And I think nowadays there's a lot of pressure to be perfect at everything. And if you aim for that, you're going to burn yourself out and you're going to make yourself unhappy. So having that perspective, I think, is helpful. I think
sorry to interrupt, but I want to come back to this point. Also to insist, and you can come back, but this is very important, because I'm sure we have Nova students listening to you, and this notion of sort of managing things and letting go of the idea of perfection and trying to do everything to everybody. How do you go about learning about that as well? Because this is something Nova, I'm sure when you were a student, this is your life. You think you can do everything perfectly and die in the process. How do you learn to?
Of course. And I probably was guilty of that, especially in the early in my and probably even so, I'm saying this, but I probably even a little bit now. I think set your priorities straight. So there will be a time that I will have to prioritize my work because I have an investment committee, and that has to be like my prioritization. But if it's my wedding anniversary, then I'm going to obviously prioritize my family the same way. If I'm feeling unhealthy, I'll prioritize my well-being. I'll prioritize sports or something. I need to understand. I need to really and try to understand that what is important to me right now, what is important to me, to the things that matter to me the most. I have what I would classify as a close group of friends. I have my family. I have my personal well-being, and that be mental, that be wellness, whatever that is, that I'll need to allocate some time once in a while. And then I have my work. And so I have to understand that when I'm there to do something, I'm there at 100%. So yes, I have limited time and space, but when I am with my family, I am with my family, and I try to disconnect. When I am with my work and I need to pull whatever that I need to do to get the investment committee done, then I'll do that. But I'll know that once that is done, I will set time aside so that my family becomes my priority and I catch up. So I think having that balance is key. I think really understanding your priorities is important. Not the things that demand you the most time, but the things that are, because there will be things that are very important and not necessarily will ask for your time. For example, my son is 4 months old and he will not necessarily ask and demand my attention, but obviously he needs it. So I need to set that priority. And I think, later in life, having a great partner is key. I think I am incredibly lucky to have someone who values my work equally and who shares the responsibility of the household. And I think being partners, I think that's super important. That said, like you said, I'm wrapping up my maternity leave. So it's my first biggest challenge is going to be, I'm due at work next week. So I think that is the biggest challenge is to come.
I'm sure you'll do great. So let me ask you about the future.
Sure.
I mean, after all this, I mean, what do you see as your purpose? I mean, what do you see as, if you imagine your life as it runs towards its end now, what would you like it to be? What would you like to feel? I mean, what are you building up to? I mean, where do you see it going? What is purpose in the end for you?
I think purpose for me, it's a mix of both. I think it's professionally, I do enjoy very much where I am and the platform that I am and the ability that I have to really make a difference, transform businesses, either that be acquisitions but unlock transformation. I enjoy that very much. And I feel like I'm intellectually challenged every day. So that is professionally, I think I do want to continue to do that. And I do want to continue, hopefully growing an organization and so on. I think personally, I want to keep the balance between everything that is important to me. So I obviously want to be focused professionally, but I want to dedicate time to my family. I want to kind of my community. For example, I'm a trustee and a board member of A Little Gesture, which in Portugal is known as Pequeno Gesto, and I have been involved with the charity for 7 years now. So I think that making some contribution and continue to do so, I think that is equally important to me. So I think what I see myself in the future, I see myself growing further in the organization, and I see continue to strive for a balanced life and a happy life ultimately.
Okay. So let's just change a little bit to a last point I wanted to cover, which was about the school. Any memories that stay with you from your Nova years that you would like to share with us? I mean, what stayed on you? I mean, how did Nova stay in your heart?
Yeah, I think, extremely well for the future. I think I kind of broke out of my shell there. I think it challenged me intellectually. I think it set my foundations for what I learned to earn, and kind of grew my network. It also, at the time I was working part-time when I was studying at Nova. So I think that managing my time, prioritizing, anticipating events was crucial in my life later on. But I think in terms of memories holding dear, I would have to say my friends. I think I met some of people I met there or I brought from high school, I still hold very close. And we are all spread out across Europe. There goes the Nova alumni network everywhere. And some were even bridesmen at my wedding. So I think that friendships that I have lasted throughout the years, throughout frontiers, I think that is definitely the memory I hold the dearest.
Yeah. And how important are these for you? I mean, these friendships and all this stuff. Is this? I mean, if you had to compare the friends that you've done since, I mean, are these special? The friends that you do out of college, or are they different, or is just?
Definitely. I think college is a crucial time. For or it was a crucial time for me. I think it's kind of when you start really breaking out of your shell, like I was saying. It's when you really start aligning with people that kind of see the world very similar to you and are thriving. And I think there's a lot of value in everyone kind of thriving for getting things done and getting their goals at the same time. And I think we were still developing ourselves as adults when I was there. I mean, you're there from 18 to 21. So I think that's a crucial time in everyone's development. And I mean, all my friends that I have made very close at Nova, I still hold them very dear. And I definitely.
Madalena, what advice would you leave for those that are now doing their bachelor at Nova and those that are doing their masters? Yeah. Also, because the world is changing, it's changing very, very fast, and it's changing very fast even in finance. I mean,
of course,
some time ago you would be mostly dealing with just finance, and now pure finance. Now you're dealing much more with business, and how you cannot separate sort of the companies that you're investing in, understanding how to manage them, with actually the finance part of it. So, I mean, what advice from a professional perspective, those that want to go into investment banking, but also from a personal perspective, those that, want to pursue a career, what advice would you give them to get them ready for this? What are the do's and the don'ts?
Yeah, I think, I mean, my advice, I think, applies for investment banking or elsewhere, to be honest. I think at the beginning of your career, I would say that work hard, remain curious, and aim to get the most experience possible. Just get the knowledge at first. Then as you grow in kind of your role and your opportunities and are given to you, then take them, but take them with confidence because they were granted to you for a reason. And then finally, I would say, take every bump in the road as a lesson to learn from. And I know that's incredibly hard to do that when you get a lot of no's. And I've got a lot of no's from universities, from companies. But the truth is, my CV currently doesn't show any of those no's, doesn't show any of the mistakes I've done in models or documentations, negotiations, business discussions. It only shows the highlights. But those no's and those mistakes were crucial to get me where I am right now. So I think taking every bump road as a lesson has been key throughout my career.
And what about the time that you spent at Nova, and also the time when you were at Imperial? I mean, as a student, were there things that you wished you had done that you did not do, or things that you did that you wish you had not done as a student?
I think often you think about what you wish. I think you usually regret more what you didn't do than you actually did. If there's anything I regret not doing, maybe not even being more involved. I think when I started
involved in the activities and
exactly in academics, in academics, and all of that, I think. Again, I was working part-time, so it was a bit harder, but I think I did manage to make my friends and kind of was very focused in my career. But I probably could have been even more academically involved. I think one thing that I'm grateful, and I think I also give that advice to students, is enjoy your time there, enjoy the people you meet, because you will make people that are friends that you're going to grow on to be people that you potentially do business with. So do grow that and value that. I think often you see, maybe a little bit in Portugal, but you often see that academics is 100% your focus and you need to perform that, but you understand that the university experience is so much more than that, is looking at your friendships, is looking at your network, is looking outside your world. Like what you learn at university is only to be applied at the world. So just open your window a bit more. I think that's super important.
Awesome. So just a quick final question. I mean, you graduated from here. You went abroad to study. You stayed abroad. How do you? I mean, this notion of studying in Portugal, studying abroad, working in Portugal, working abroad. I mean, what have you learned, and what is your plan?
Yeah, of course.
Should we expect to have you in the country turning things around here as well?
I think not yet. I would say I do enjoy London very much. I think I very much enjoyed Portugal, and obviously I'm Portuguese and I lived all my life there. I decided to do my master's in London simply because I wanted the international experience, and London made sense because I was doing finance. I actually ended up, funny enough, ended up in London and in the UK almost by accident, in a sense that I did do my internship at McKinsey in Lisbon. I was supposed to be going back to McKinsey. And then when I did my master's, I wanted to try out investment banking, and kind of first went into summer internship. I tried to apply for that, ended up getting an offer for full time. So it just kind of, everything kind of opened itself doors. I think London it's incredibly vibrant, has the advantage of being in the same time zone as Portugal, which makes, and it's a 2.5 hours flight. So I think all of that makes it close to home enough. But it still has kind of the busyness and kind of, it's the financial hub in Europe. So I am extremely grateful to be here.
Okay, listen, Madalena, we're gonna get going, but I have 2 questions from the audience that is now actually looking and listening to you and seeing you. And so if you don't mind, I'm just gonna read them to you.
Of course.
Is that okay? So the first question is investment banking, the sell side, the only way to get into private equity, the buy side? That's one question. And the second question, and I'll read so you can answer both of them. Are you going back to work in full time, or is it possible in a job like yours to cut down on hours?
Okay, so taking the first one, I get actually asked that question a lot from some of my mentees. I think it has changed a little bit, the market. I think the market has become hotter from that perspective. And so you do see more private equity firms looking at kind of picking up from the universities. However, I would say if private equity is already, private equity or kind of investing world is already a hard to get industry, I think coming out of the university is even higher. And so if you really want private equity, if investing is really where you want, the highest likelihood of you getting there is via investment banking, and potentially in some cases of private equity, in some cases consulting. I would say because most firms will be looking for having some financial foundations of knowledge that you only really acquire investment banking, and it is very intense years. And I know a lot of people that they are sometimes afraid of investment banking, or they want to go straight to their path, but it is incredibly helpful in ensuring that your foundations are solid, and so you gain skills that are so much easily learned in investment banking than if you are straight into private equity. And you're probably going to get better opportunities if you go via investment banking versus being direct. So that would be my answer on that.
So the second question is about
part-time.
Part-time.
So no, I'm joining full-time. I think there is, I'm hopeful that COVID has created some flexibility or some understanding of that people have the ability to work from home. My current goal is to be able to come back some days of the week to kind of put my baby to bed and kind of work and log in later on if that's the need. But like I said, I haven't gone back to work, so I haven't really experienced that. But I think it's hard to do part-time and in industries such as kind of transactional like mine. So either that be investment banking, either that be investing, either that be sometimes lawyers on the side of kind of transactions, because it's really hard to work part-time on a transaction because it becomes live and is live on time compressed timelines. All I can say is that I'm striving the best to get the best balance possible. So allocating time and prioritizing time for the family, but then understanding that potentially I'll do longer hours than I was doing previously, or I'll have to balance and juggle better, kind of working from the office and logging in at night.
Okay, listen, Madalena, it's been a tremendous pleasure. I guess 2021 has been a great year for you. First award, a baby. I mean, what more can someone expect in a year that has been very hard for everybody, but I guess it's kind of turned out incredibly strong for you. It's incredibly well deserved. You've done extremely well, and you've got a great career. So congratulations. And you should know that, you know, there's a lot of people here feeling very, very proud. Many of them are watching this, others are not watching this, but are here at Nova feeling very, very proud of all your accomplishments and all those of other graduates that we'll get to know as we strive in these conversations. So best of luck. A lot of sense of achievement, not just in 2021, but in years ahead. And when you have the time, come back. Let us know how you feel. Come back and see the campus, because have you seen the new campus?
I actually have.
Okay, come back and see that. And we're looking forward. And I hope that in about maybe 5 years, we can celebrate something even more exciting. I'm quite sure that's what it's going to happen. Okay. And best of luck for motherhood and the family and success.
Perfect. Thank you.
All those of you at home, I wish all of you a great recovery from COVID, and that in a few years from now, we'll be here celebrating also your successes and the difference that you're making in the world. That's it. Thank you very much to all of you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Madalena.
Thank you.